It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with The Nation newspaper. The major story here says, dispute stalls federal government Emefiele plea bargain talks. Dispute stalls federal government Emefiele plea bargain talks. And some riders, suspended CBN governor may face trial. Why deputy governors were dropped. All right, all the details on the front page of The Nation newspaper. To the business day now, Cardoso taxes helm of CBN as FX, that's foreign exchange backlog lingers. Cardoso taxes helm of CBN as foreign exchange backlog lingers. Details on the front page of the business day. To the Guardian newspaper now, CBN's top officials on tightrope as special investigation peaks. CBN's top officials on tightrope as special investigation peaks. You find all the details on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. To Nigerian News Direct, subsidy removal. Federal government meets Labour today over insistence on indefinite strike palliative distribution. Federal government meets Labour today over insistence on indefinite strike palliatives distribution as Labour's 21-day ultimatum expires this week. You'll find all the details on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. To the Daily Times now, indefinite strike over fuel subsidy removal. NLC leaders meet as federal government moves to avert strike. And some riders, government calls Labour to vital meeting today. Strike may begin this week or Monday. All right, that's the details you find on the front page of the Daily Times. To the Punch newspaper now, marketers eye fresh fuel price hike as crude hits $94. Marketers eye fresh fuel price hike as crude hits $94. NATO plans price hike, raises concern over federal government's insistence, raises concern rather, on federal government's insistence on 617 naira per litre petrol price. Details on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Ibrahim?
Our blueprint is the first that I have with me here, and it has the headline as why we can't increase Tinubu minister's salary. That's Ramfak. What we can't increase Tinubu minister's salary. Ramfak there. That's the blueprint. Salient Times is next. Illegal auctioning. Reps fume as Nemasa sells 82 vehicles for 5.8 million naira. Illegal auctioning. Reps fume as Nemasa sells 82 vehicles for 5.8 million naira. That's according to the Salient Times. Next is First News. Averted plane crash. My close shave with death on sabotaged flight, Governor Adeleke of Osun State. Alleges aircraft engines were tampered with, says early internal investigation proves suspicion. NCAA, NSIB begin probe, warn against sensationalizing incidents. My close shave with death on sabotaged flight. That's Governor Adeleke. First News again, reading more there. Leadership newspaper is next. Impeachment plots. Why Aso Rock won't allow Akpabio's removal. Concerns over likely ripple effect in reps. Senator not executives houseboy. That's the CSOs. Impeachment plots. Why Aso Rock won't allow Akpabio's removal. That's according to the Leadership newspaper. Daily Trust is next. Auditor General's absence stalls audit of MDAs for 3 years. Auditor General's absence stalls audit for MDAs for 3 years. Constitution allows acting for 6 months only. Office poorly funded since 1999. A vacuum makes governance susceptible to mismanagement. That's according to the Senate panel. And President Tinubu will appoint substantive Auditor General soon. That's the presidency. Auditor General's absence stalls audit of MDAs for 3 years. That's on the front page of the Daily Trust. National economy is next. Tinubunomics, ending Nigeria's foreign investment hemorrhage. Tinubunomics, ending Nigeria's foreign investment hemorrhage. That's the national economy. Next is the Abuja Inquirer. Hurricane Wike jitters in the FCTA. Top officials want redeployment. Fear of probe over contract variations deepens. Hurricane Wike jitters in FCTA. That's a screaming headline there, and the riders read, top officials want redeployment. Fear of probe over contract variations deepens. That's Hurricane Wike there, hitting a very strong landfall in Abuja, as reported by the Abuja Inquirer. Now, this Nigeria is next. Public varsities fee hike, bad timing, say Nigerians. Public varsities fee hike, bad timing, say Nigerians. Want federal government to declare state of emergency on education. Public varsities fee hike, bad timing, says Nigerians. Want federal government to declare state of emergency on education. That's according to this Nigeria. And last but not least, Nature newspaper says heavy rainfall in Lagos causes widespread flooding, chaos. Commercial bike driver swept away, many displaced. Heavy rainfall in Lagos causes widespread flooding, chaos. As a commercial bike driver swept away, many displaced. That's Nature newspaper. Seeing the word chaos makes me remember when one of my lecturers said, the first time he saw the word, he said, chaos.
But it's really an unfortunate situation with regards to the flooding, the impact of the rains. In fact, there was a building collapse somewhere in Lagos, and it's just been from one chaos to the other with regards to this matter of flooding. But that's not our focus with regards to our paper review this morning. We are focusing on the meeting the federal government will be having with organized labor.
That's right.
We recall that labor has been engaging government with regards to the measures put in place to address, cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. And somehow labor has not been satisfied with the measures put in place by government, and so it had gone on strike one time or the other, and then it's threatening to go on another strike. But the government, through the Ministry of Labour and Employment, is saying that it's important that they engage labor so as not to disrupt the economy, because it is important with regards to the renewed hope agenda of the president. So it is important that they have this industrial engagement with labor such that they can see how they can address all the issues, all the gray areas where labor is not satisfied. Maybe they would have a meeting ground at this point, seeing that labor is insisting that something be done with regards to palliatives, ensuring that Nigerians, the government cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal. And then there's also the matter of ensuring that the economy is not grinded to a halt as it is.
Yes, it's very key that they have this dialogue with the federal government. NLC had gone on strike, 2-day warning strike, September the 5th, and then that was done to a reasonable success. Even though some are saying that, why are they threatening strike at this time? That is just a new government. Why didn't they allow the government to breathe on its own, being able to solve the situation on ground, looking for ways to solve these issues as soon as possible with the palliatives here and there. But Nigerian Labour Congress is saying the trade union is saying that, no, they can't allow Nigerians to suffer. They can't allow Nigerians to be, reeling from the impact of the fuel subsidy removal. But all the same, they should come to, a roundtable, have this conversation so that they will be able to solve this issue once and for all. Because those who are on the side of the government against the labor union, and those who are on the side of the labor union will not be, throwing, banters here and there, so that it doesn't lead to Totti's father-in-law syndrome. I tell you that fable where Totti's that went to steal from the father-in-law's farm, and then he was arrested and hung on the street for people to see. When they were going to the farm in the morning, they were like, Totti's, you stolen, you this and all of that. By the time they were coming back later in the evening, they were like, did he steal more than the 2 yams of tuber? Is he not going to feed the father-in-law's daughter? So why are you now? Why is the father-in-law? So that means that the father-in-law here is a government, and the tortoise here is the labor union, so that people will not be saying that, okay, allow government to breathe. At the end of the day, they will say, you too, answer labor. You understand? So I feel, things need to be done, ASAP, so that, we'll have a better Nigeria at the end of the day.
Typical fable from a village man. That's what but interesting. I would like to see how the government puts forth its argument with Labour as it is. Labour had gone on to say there has to be some increment in wages, so to speak. But then there's also the argument as to if there is an increment in wages, how it affects our already rising inflation. Yeah. And so perhaps the government is looking at how to achieve some balance. Whatever it is coming up with, there should be some balance in the economy, bottom line at the end of the day. So I am looking forward to seeing how government puts forth its arguments such that Labour too can also perhaps see reasons with government, because a distortion of the economy is not what we need at this time.
That's right.
The economy needs to, to thrive as much as possible, even though we know that the removal of fuel subsidy is biting hard on everyone. But then again, we have seen some states put in some measures. I am wondering if Labour can begin to look at state-by-state engagement as well. We have seen government talk about giving out palliatives. Has Labour engaged state governments with how these palliatives were distributed? Have you put pressure on, for instance, what we saw happen in Ondo?
In Ondo State.
Has Labour come in to say, okay, what went on? What happened? And perhaps wade into the matter one way or the other, because it affects the life of workers that they are trying to defend at the end of the day. Let's see a state-by-state engagement as well, beyond the federal government. What is going on? We have seen some states like Kwara State and Edo State say that they are going to reduce the number of days that workers get to work. They are going to provide this and that. How are states meeting up with what they promised?
That's right.
It's key.
That's right.
Are they keeping up with their promises? If not, put pressure on them to deliver on what they promised. Yes, we know the federal government has a role, but then again, we see the 36 states of the federal government, the federal government also working hand in glove with the federal government as well, to ensure that whatever they are doing at the federal level is also replicated at the state level. So Labour, because I know they have state chapters, let them engage to see what is going on, where there are gaps. How do we close this gap so that what we can cushion for the now, the low-hanging fruits, what we can address for now should be addressed. Because yes, we will not deny the fact that yes, federal government has taken some steps, but how about state governments? They also promised. What are they doing? How far have we come with what some of the state governments have done?
Not only the federal governments, just like you said, the state governments, also the local governments who are very close out to the people, the grassroots. So how are they also ensuring that the little palliative that they received is well distributed among the indigent people in Nigeria who are affected by this? Those in the rural areas. We talk more often often talk more of people in the urban areas. What about the people in the rural areas? Fine, they go to farm, but some of them are also having issues.
Public and private sector.
And all of that. So I feel that, we should talk more about, okay, fine, you've received this. What have you done with it so far? The CNG buses that the federal government is also working on, about 11,000 of them, that they will bring to Nigeria to reduce the effect of, transportation fare on a lot of people. So
how far have we come? So I believe that following up on some of these promises made and measures put in place by government should be part of the conversation they will be having today when they meet.